Hey guys, assalamu alaikum. For today's video, I want to talk very briefly about like the importance of understanding priorities and prioritizing things accordingly within Islam. Um, and this is something that I struggle with a lot, oftentimes. Sometimes we get so caught up in the minutia of things that we oftentimes forget the big picture. We forget about what's really important. Like for example, um, praying Isha or Fajr on time is more important than going to the Masjid Tarawih here during Ramadan, right? Praying Fajr on time during its salat is an obligation, while going to pray 8 rakats or 20 rakats or whatever you want at the Masjid for Tarawih, that's not an obligation, that's a recommendation, or it's desirable. And so sometimes we prioritize non-obligatory things above things that are really mandatory and something that we really need to implement in our lives. And so I guess to illustrate this point, I wanted to share a story that is not a story of like 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago. It's from the last, you know, it's of, it's a story from Egypt from the 1900s. I guess decades ago. And basically, there were these two groups that were arguing about something that was going on with the Adhan. Like one group wanted to do the Adhan a certain way, and the other group wanted to do the Adhan another way. And the groups were clashing and fighting so much, so they went to this Egyptian scholar who's well respected. And I'm not going to say his name, but he was well respected. And they basically said, you decide. You be the judge here. What should we do? How should we give the Adhan? And then, the scholar basically just said, just stop giving the Adhan. And, I don't know if that's what he really intended or wanted, but he just stopped giving the Adhan, because the fact of the matter is the Adhan is Sunnah. Is not as important, for example, here, as the unity of the Muslims. The unity of the Muslims is more important. So, this is something that I personally struggle with a lot too, is where we sometimes, we get so caught up in the small details here and there and here and there. This is how you do something, and then we forget the big picture, and we forget that Allah's all merciful, and we have to um, realize why we're doing something, what's the greater good in doing something, and then on top of that, fulfilling our obligations and understanding where our priorities lie. Making an effort sincerely to fulfill the 5 pillars, for example. Yeah, that's all I got today. Jazakallah khair for listening. Assalamu alaikum.